recently Brandon Aiyuk was ranked the 10th best wide receiver in the league. What do you think of that ranking? Is it fair? Is it foul?
I I think it's fair. I mean, there's a couple guys ahead of him that I would move up the board. So we can go one by one. I mean, Justin Jefferson, I think almost unanimously, he's the number one wide receiver in the league. If not, then it's either Hill or Chase. That's the top three right there. No argument. CeeDee Lamb, me personally, I don't have CeeDee Lamb in my top five. I think CeeDee Lamb is very good. I think he's a product of being force-fed the ball on a pretty regular basis. I think if you were to switch CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk could do many of the things that CeeDee Lamb does in that offense, personally. After CeeDee Lamb, they have Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then it goes to Mike Evans, who's aging, still very, very good. And then Stephon Diggs. I don't know what Stephon Diggs has left. I think Stephon Diggs is good. I also think, it's funny because when people talk about Josh Allen, they say that Stephon Diggs made him. What did he do without Josh Allen? But when you look at Stephon Diggs before Josh Allen, he was never an all-pro player. He had more yards in 4 seasons than he had the previous 5 in Minnesota combined. He made 2 first-team all-pros. I mean, he did a lot of things with Josh Allen, and then seemingly the last half of last year, he really fell off. They didn't feature him at all. They didn't even look his way a lot of those games. Is that because he fell off a little bit? What was going on there? So Ayuk at 10, I think Ayuk's probably top 10-ish. And there's a couple guys in there I would probably put him ahead of personally.
I think if you were asking, was Brandon Aiyuk a top 10 wide receiver last season, the answer would be obviously, unquestionably yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the question. And if you're asking, is a guy a top 10 player at his position, you got to look beyond just the last season. It's the whole body of work. And with a guy like Devontae Adams, you could say he's over the hill, but man, he's been to 6 Pro Bowls in a row or 7. I mean, he's insane. Brandon Aiyuk, as good as you think he is or should be or could be or would have been in certain different circumstances or going to be, whatever, he's had 0 Pro Bowls and 1 second team All-Pro. And it's dangerous to just cement someone like that in a top 10 because let's go back 2 years to the Deebo Samuel experience. His great year was better than Brandon's great year. He was first team All-Pro. He was incredible. And a lot of people felt this guy's top 5 at his position. But here we are now and look back, it's like, well, nah, he just had 1 great year. And that doesn't make you. And so he's not even in consideration for the top 10 wide receiver in this. That could be Brandon if he never has another season where he averages 17.9 yards per catch. So I feel a little uncomfortable making him just say, absolutely, he's top 10 over Stephon Diggs, who's done it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's definitely a career situation. It's tough to gauge because with a wide receiver, especially, you've seen Brandon Aiyuk. He's been consistently good, right? Last year was by far his best year, but it's not like he's been horrible. No. It looks like he's ascending. And so you have to gauge is if Diggs is on the way down and Ayuk's on the way up, where's that axis point? Where does that cross? And at what point is Aiyuk better? A lot of it is projection for sure. I don't know. Do you have a problem with Aiyuk being 10th though on the list? I mean, is there anybody that was left off this list that you think has to be ahead of him?
I was just thinking that. Can you think of anyone else that didn't make this list who was snubbed? I mean, obviously Debo, DK.
I'm not a big DK fan. I think he's
what if you put DK in this team? If you gave him the Ayuk's role on this team, I don't know.
I don't think he's the route runner that Aiyuk is. They get it done differently. I think he could be effective.
They get it done differently.
For sure. They get it done differently. Cooper Kupp maybe, but he
Puka?
just came off of a year where he was injured. Puka's, talk about.
But again, that's another one. He's had 1 year.
Yeah. Debo's another honorable mention on here, but no. Waddle, I guess maybe you could talk about Waddle, and then you start getting into a bunch of guys that have a couple decent seasons, but nobody's really ascended, the Olaves and what have you. So, I think Aiyuk deserves to be top 10. If not, he's just outside of it.
It seems fair to me. There's no There's no one I would rank over him at this point. But Mike Evans, I mean, you could argue that you could say I'd rather have Aiyuk this year than Diggs, Evans, a lot of those people. But just in terms of who's proven it, he just hasn't yet. Not
For
long
sure.
enough. Yeah.
But let's talk about it in this light, though. We agree that he deserves some sort of ranking on this list, right? Guys that we don't have on this list, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins, they just got paid this offseason. And so is Aiyuk really asking for way too much? Like, I think that a lot of fans are torn. They're like, oh, just shut up and take the money. But those guys all just got paid, and they're in that range of 26, 28 million. And we agree that he's better than them. So why shouldn't Aiyuk be asking what he's asking for?
I think he should be. And I think if the 49ers want to play hardball, there could be some fallout for them. And I guess that's their prerogative. But if Brandon really wants this, then he should not sign an extension. And he should wait and try to wait till next year, because he could be worth even more money next year. Now, I know it's scary. He plays football and he could get injured, but the world is so unfair. And just because he's worth that doesn't mean he's worth that to the Niners, or that they're wrong if they don't look at what's going on with Cincinnati and T. Higgins.
Yeah.
T. Higgins wants his money. The Bengals are like, sorry, we don't have to give it to you yet. And T. Higgins has to live with that. No one's got a bleeding heart for T. He's not going on the pivot with 8 people around him being like, damn, T, you're getting wrong, man. Whatever you want, that's what you deserve. But that's what Brandon Aiyuk's doing. So it seems like the Niners are sort of playing the game, and it's a dirty game. We all know that. And if Aiyuk wants the most money possible, he's got to be patient.
Yeah, I think, the Bengals situation is interesting because they have 2 receivers that are eligible to get paid, and one of them we have firmly in the top 3. So It's like if you got to choose one, you're going to choose Chase. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't also, that's the thing, is both things really can be true here. Aiyuk is not out of bounds asking what he's asking for. He's well within his right based off of where he ranks and what other guys are getting paid. And the 49ers are well within their right in saying, no, you don't carry the same value to us that you would in a vacuum across the league. And we're sorry about that, but we're not willing to pay you. And so I do think both things can be true. I don't know. We'll see.
I do think one thing that's hurting Brandon is, he could say what he wants about targets and whatever and efficiency, but like whenever he's had an opportunity to do anything in the playoffs, he hasn't come through. I mean, he had 9 catches in the playoffs last year. He had 6 catches in the playoffs year before that, and he had 9 catches in the playoffs before that. Like, he's never taken over a playoff game. He had the great catch in the NFC Championship game. That was super duper clutch, but there's a lot left to be desired on his resume, a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, you look at somebody like Amon-Ra St. Brown, for example. His first playoff game, he catches the game-ending comeback. Like, he's like, "Get me the ball. I'll get the first down, and I'll win this game right here, right now." And that's exactly what he did. So, yeah,
what about Puka Nacua?
I understand that. Yeah, Puka Nacua. I mean, he
9 catches for 181 and a touchdown in his first playoff game. Like, okay, like you're legit.
He crushed it. Yeah, he crushed it.
I think with Aiyuk, there are questions like, are you really legit, or are you a very good wide receiver in a great system with a great supporting cast who gets one-on-ones and yada yada yada? And it's like you could make the argument that you would produce at a higher volume, but you haven't. These guys have.
Yeah, but then I guess the flip side is like, well, where the hell is George Kittle in the playoffs? Where the hell is Deebo Samuel? I mean, Deebo Samuel had a good rookie year in that first playoff run, and he's had some moments like Green Bay, but this year in the Super Bowl, he was nowhere to be found.
True.
NFC Championship, it's not like he took over that game either. So
nope.
I don't know. Now I will say, like, in Deebo's defense, he has had those takeover moments. Green Bay was phenomenal. Without him, they certainly don't. The 8-yard run when they needed 7 on 3rd down against Green Bay, that was fantastic. So at least
also in Kittle's defense, he's not asking for $30 million a year.
True.
That's the thing with Brandon. It's like, yeah, you're really, 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 really good, dude, but you want $30 million a year. So let's really talk about how good you are.
Yeah. But what if the tight end market was $30 million a year? Would
then we'd have to get real brutal with George. I mean, dude, where are you? I mean, your blocking is wonderful, man, but I'll take Travis Kelce's career over yours every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, how much is that Georgia? How much is that Kyle, man? Like if Travis Kelce retired today and George Kittle got traded to the Chiefs, would he not have the best year of his career right now?
Oh, he would crush it. Yeah, he would absolutely crush it. Yeah.
So, and I guess that's Brandon Aiyuk's
that's what I was saying
too.
Right?
That's
same thing with Brandon Aiyuk.
To him. Yeah, like
swap him and CeeDee Lamb.
If you traded him to Buffalo today,
help.
Would he not go for 1,600 yards 3 seasons in a row? I mean, he might.
Go crazy. He'd go crazy.
Yeah. And the Niners probably know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it really it genuinely is.
They both have a case. It's a very interesting Judge Judy situation. What would Judge Judy say?
Did you ask your dad that question? Doesn't he watch Judge Judy?
I think I would like to know what he thinks Judge Judy would say, because sometimes you never know. Would she really take the team's side on this one? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dave Barkley says, please trade for Adams.
That'd be nice.
If that trade happened, I don't think one 49er fan would be upset.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think it happens, but it would be nice.
I don't think it happens either. That's why he said it was a rumor.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Aldo Martinez says BA and Elijah Michelle for DA and Michael Mayer. Man, no one wants Elijah Mitchell. I'm sorry. Those days are long gone. Michael McCann says devil's advocate. He ranked 10th best wide receiver, and he's still the 4th option on a run-heavy offense. He's matching A.J. Brown numbers on 50 less targets. I mean, he did 1 year. That's my thing, though. He did 1 year. Debo did 1 year. You know, now that we've seen 5 years of Debo, no one would call him a top 10 wide receiver. So,
yeah, I also don't think
Brandon.
I also don't think anybody across the league would take Aiyuk over AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown is to me, AJ Brown's a top 5 receiver, and he's not 5. So.
Also, there's something to be said for like a wide receiver who's placed in a position where he has to be the guy. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows you're getting the targets. Everyone knows you're getting the coverage role to you. Can you produce? Aiyuk hasn't been in that situation yet.
No, but I did do a little exercise because people were crapping on him yesterday on Twitter. And I said, all right, well, let me look at the 3 games without Deebo Samuel. And if those 3 games were a season, he basically puts up the identical numbers. He would have 79 catches instead of 75, and he would have had 1,380 yards instead of 13, whatever he ended up having. So it was basically the same exact season with and without Deebo on the field.
That's interesting. It would be interesting to see what happens to the offense when Ayuk's not on the field compared to what happens to the offense when Deebo's not on the field. Because from what I understand, the offensive splits with and without Deebo are drastic in terms of yards per play. That whatever he does, however defenses react to him and his wide back shenanigans, it's a big deal. Then you look at Aiyuk, like, yeah, you're more the traditional wide receiver and you're a great route runner, but like if you're getting one-on-one matchups and you're out and someone like Ricky Pearsall takes your place, like is the offense going to just fall off or not? I mean, I don't know the answer to that. They don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we have 1 game without Aiyuk, but it was against the Giants team, which was one of the worst in the league. So who knows what that really tells you? I don't know. It's tough. And when and also real quick, when Deebo was out, so was Trent Williams. I mean, who, you know what I mean? Like who really is the driving factor? There was the one.
I mean, he like missed a lot of time against the Packers in the playoff game. And the Niners offense struggled. Maybe it was because it was raining and Brock can't throw the ball in the rain. Or maybe it's because Deebo's super essential. I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they're 5-3 the last 2 seasons without Deebo. But 2 of the 3 they lost, Trent Williams also didn't play. And
the other 3-6 when he doesn't play.
Yeah, and Trent Williams also, in the 3rd one that they lost, said that he shouldn't have been on the field. He gutted it out because they'd already lost Deebo. So.
You know what's crazy is like this team is considered this juggernaut, this generational team, this like you shouldn't be able to put this collection of talent together with a salary cap. And yet if that one player goes down, it all falls down like a house of cards. If that one guy misses 8, 10, 12 games, good luck.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
No one's going to be talking about how talented this team is. even though it is.
Yeah, because when you look at it, it's like, okay, if Ayuk goes out, you still have Debo, CMC, and Kittle. If any one of them go out, you have 3 other great pieces. If Trent Williams goes out, you have arguably the worst offensive line in the NFL. So,
yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say. Kyle Levy stands on dumb, says, thanks, Jesse. Kyle Levy doesn't feature anyone but Debo. What about Christian?
Yeah, he features the hell out of Christian.
Dave Barclay says, you think any of this is for off-season attention?
Well, it definitely is. Are you saying from the 49ers side? I don't know about that. Certainly from Ayuk's side. I mean, he all but said that, didn't he?
Here's why Ayuk requested his trade. I heard this from multiple sources. He really wanted Jesse and I and me to have content. So he said, let me throw you something.
Man of the people.
Yeah, 17 tracks. Here's 2 more for you guys. Nee says AJ Brown over Ayuk clearly, but Ayuk doesn't have a big dom. It's just not fair.
Good point. I didn't even consider that. Yeah.
The big dom thing was so interesting last year. He gets in an altercation with the 49ers player, thrown out. My first reaction is, who the hell is that guy? Then it turns out everyone knows who he is, and they respect him.
What?
The things you don't know about the NFL.
The plot twists.
Everyone's like, I really wanted to meet Big Dom. I have so much respect for Big Dom. Like, why? Who does he? What is he? How do you?
Yeah.
Who is he? Mindful Naked says, doesn't matter who's on the roster. Kyle in the big fight while wielding a sword against a butter knife would pull out a spoon for the fail. I mean, it was really poetic what you wrote, and I can't disagree. It's on him. Because here's the thing. Kyle Shanahan gets called a genius and a top 2 coach in the league. Everyone agrees his roster is the best. He doesn't win a Super Bowl, and no one like kind of no one's like, does that mean that Kyle's not as good as we think he is? No, it's just bad luck or something. Eventually,
hard to win a Super Bowl, Grant.
It's hard. It's also hard to blow a 10-point lead. He's the only guy who's done it twice. Him. So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, his legacy is kind of in the balance. He's done everything you can except win a Super Bowl, but it's not like he's just lost them. He's like found ways to lose Super Bowls against inferior teams while he's had juggernauts. Like, that's not what great coaches do, or even good coaches.
Yeah, it's been done, 7 times in the Super Bowl, and twice by him, once by his dad. Is that?
Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best team. He's not even a great coach. He figured out a way to not blow it one time.
Against, by the way, and the best quarterback and best head coach prior to what's happening right now. So
yeah, I don't like how Kyle like floats his little excuse, like, well, you're going against a generational quarterback. You held him to 19 points in regulation. That was not the reason you lost. Mahomes didn't Mahomes you. It's like it was you against Steve Spagnuolo, and you lost in an incredible fashion. Yeah. You lost so bad you tried to hire him the next day. That's what happened. That's the story of that game. Yeah, that's crazy. Dave Barkley, the man, the myth, and name changer, Brother Bob. Yeah, Brother Bob, we got to get you back on the show soon, man. Fish and Chips member for 11 months. Thank you very much. Kyle Levy stands on dumb, says, LOL, Dove. Of course, I meant non-gadget running backs. Of course. Fish and Chips says, GC, you got it out the little shanty. You out of the little shanty doghouse after the Super Bowl. I doubt it. I will find out later this week. I asked him a question at minicamp, and he made fun of me for asking it too quickly. Remember that? He was like, "Oh, you didn't give me a chance to finish there."
Yeah.
It's like,
how'd you know I was done?
You're done. Wrap it up.
I think it's interesting because a lot of people really they get on Twitter and they say they don't like you and all these other things, but anything interesting that comes out of a press conference always centers around a question that you've asked. I would say 9 out of the 10 interesting things center around a question that you asked at the press conference.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Or like, usually what happens is Niner fans hate me in the offseason, hate me in training camp, but then like they'll lose one game. And then in the Twitter mentions, like, get him, Grant. Get him, Grant. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, now you want me to now you like me for who I am. But the other 11 months of the year, you hate me. But it's like, no, Grant, we need Grant for this. I mean, I'm not that. I'm not my dad. I'll do the best I can.
Grant's going to have to ask the tough questions. Thank God he's around.
That one always gets me. Okay, couple more super chats. Hold on. Chris says BA for Myers and Jackson Powers Johnson.
I wish. You think why would the 49ers want Jackson Powers Johnson? They could have drafted him.
How about BA for Brock Bowers and Jackson Powers Johnson?
Oh God, that's another one.
Mahomes did Mahomes Kyle, says Dave Barclay. Thank you.
Fair.
Okay, let's move on. Enough. We do that every time I do a show. Sorry, Kyle.